Hey, it's Izzy Dakota Jones here with the Art of Doing podcast for 2022. Hey, I'm hanging out. I'll be talking to, not hanging out, but talking to a guitar player I play in a band with, Charles. And Charles' last name, I can't pronounce it. I think Lancy or something like that. It's maybe he'll let me know later in the conversation. Lynse, and how you pronounce it. Anyways, he's a very interesting guitar player. Also, he's all around musician. He plays bass, he plays keyboards, he sings. He's really good. He's a very creative dude, and he plays in two bands with me. He plays in the Twitch and he plays in Saints and Sinners, and he has a project of his own. And he's an actor, and he works up here in Hollywood North and does a lot of different films and stuff. So we'll be talking to Charles here in a few minutes. So hang in there. This is Izzy Dakota Jones with the Art of Doing podcast for 2022. So let me ask you, how long you've been playing music for, Charles? How long you been doing it for now?
This year it'll be 20 years.
20 years.
Singing in front of people for 23 years, but I've been playing for 20.
Right. So how many, I guess, what are some of your influences? Like, because, you have a unique style, right? And I'd sort of like to know what kind of influences, what are some of the artists that you listen to and you grew up with?
Well, it's weird. Growing up, I grew up playing the blues when I was a kid. Like when I was 14 to 16, I was playing a lot of the blues. It was all, Stevie Ray Vaughan and Albert King.
Oh, cool.
Being a lefty who plays a right-handed guitar, the Albert King style really grabbed me because he was a lefty who played a right-handed guitar.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting because I've had a few of my friends watched you playing and that's the first thing they noticed, right? And that drew them to you, actually, right? Because they said that's very interesting. We find that very interesting. Rod Nolan said that he found it very interesting that you played like that too. Yeah.
I actually have played with Rod Nolan in the past.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Yeah, exactly. So what are some of your influence? Albert King, blues. What else? And he said
between for most of my teens and early 20s, it was all Pink Floyd. But
okay.
since I was 13, punk rock has always been a big influence on me. So, some of the bigger punk bands, some of the best punk guitarists that make more melodic music rather than just thrashing.
Yeah. Okay, so you and punk, like you said, like can you name some of the punk acts?
Well, the Descendants is always going to be one for me. No Use for a Name. Those are some of my favorites.
Right, and also you also like ska and reggae, like we were.
Ska and reggae, of course.
Yeah.
I didn't start performing live until a couple of years ago because it didn't really seem to grab anyone. But then, I guess it was late 2019. I kind of tried again, and people really started to grab onto it. So I started doing that a lot more.
Yeah. And what do you like about it? Do you like the rhythm? Do you like what is it that the feel? What is it that you like?
Yeah, it's a certain feel. It's sort of it makes your heart beat at a certain speed, makes your body move a certain way. I don't know. It's hard to explain, but it's something that reggae is something that I can do without thinking about what I'm doing and just kind of let it flow.
Yeah.
Let it happen rather than focus on what I'm doing. Like, if I'm playing a guitar solo, I'm thinking about where should I go from here. I guess it's not so bad anymore. I've gotten a lot better at just sort of feeling it out. But when I'm playing songs with real structure and a lot of chord changes and a lot of stuff, I've got to kind of think about it.
Yeah.
I like reggae because I can just turn off my brain and just be in it and feel it. Right.
Good. That's interesting. Yeah. So you just get in the moment of it, right? Basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty good. So also, your influences start from blues. So basically, you like a lot of you like a lot of rootsy music, right? That's basically where you come from, right? It sounds like that.
I also have a bit of influence from the music my dad listened to. So things like Led Zeppelin.
Yeah.
Not so much AC/DC. He loved them, but I never did. Same with the Stones. They never really hit me. But like Tragically Hip and stuff, like any of that music was really big in like the early '90s among the 30s, late '30s crowd. So.
Right. Interesting. Interesting. So, by the way, yeah, too. Also, I got you here. You just don't do that. You also are into acting too, right? So, how long have you been doing that for?
Not quite as long as I was playing guitar. I started acting when I was 16, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I started doing it professionally for a while, and now I'm sort of on hiatus from that, but I'm hopefully going to get back into that soon.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, what kind of films have you done? What have you done, and what kind of parts?
Well, I've done a lot of independent stuff, short films, stuff like that. I've done a bit of work on TV or TVC.
Yeah.
Those kind of jobs are incredibly lucrative, but they're not very fulfilling. I mean, like you're not playing fully fleshed out characters. You don't have a lot to do, a lot to say. When you're doing independent project, you usually get a much bigger piece, which doesn't pay, but it's kind of more satisfying.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Cool. So, have you done anything else in film? Have you done anything else behind the scenes? Or it's just been strictly acting?
Not really. I mean, a little bit here and there for friends who needed help.
Yeah.
I've been doing that since 2011. Like, I first went out to Maple Ridge to shoot a film with a big crew, and I was just the guy driving the Winnebago. Not a very good film job, but that was still part of it and still had fun.
Yeah. So in talking about film and that too, like we just talked about, like influences in music. What are some of your favorite films that you've watched or you inspires you? Right? What do you like in film? Do you like comedy? Do you like drama? What do you like?
It's interesting because my biggest influence in acting, people are always surprised when I tell them it was actually early '90s Bruce Willis.
Oh, cool! Yes.
Style. How he had this sort of cool guy action with a certain comedic undertone that carried him through everything, and
yeah,
I was kind of like John McClane from Die Hard, those kind of characters. Like that was my inspiration to become an actor, was Bruce Willis as a young man.
That's very cool. Very cool. And so you like that kind of like action, but it also has a bit of, it has comedy to it. I mean, there's humor in it, right?
I like anything that makes me feel things.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I mean, I've been watching films like from the '80s, which I used to watch when I was younger too, and then I'm starting to watch, and then I watch them again, and I'm going like, geez, they were really well put together, right? And the actors actually could act. You know what I mean? Like there wasn't a lot of. It wasn't all about like all the technology stuff that they have today, right? I mean, there's great films nowadays. Get me wrong.
Oh, yeah, no, it was very much more performance based back then.
Yeah, very much performance based, exactly. So you like that kind of stuff? Have you? So as those are the kind of stuff you've been getting into in the independent films, or has it been more like drama, or what has it been in the parts?
There have been actually a big mixture of them. There have been some heavily dramatic ones, some sort of superhero stuff, some kind of comedy. It's been a mixed bag. I mean, I've played a dishwasher. I've played a supervillain. I've played construction worker with a bad back. I mean, I've played all these sort of tragic characters as well as heroic characters.
That's very cool. That's interesting. So yeah. So what do you? I guess in general you just like. From playing music to doing film and stuff. You just like that creative. You must just really like that creative process. I guess, That drives you. I guess,
Yeah, that's awkward about me though, because I like doing that. I like creating and I like doing those sort of things. But I'm not really a big fan of attention. Like, as you can tell, I never really have my volume turned up too loud. Like I don't seek the spotlight. I like being creative without drawing too much attention to it.
Yeah. That's good because you actually live for the actual feeling of the music and I guess the parts, right? And that shows you that you become you're willing to, well, you're open, you're always learning, right? You never stop changing, and if you stop learning, then you're not gonna get any better anytime soon, right?
Yeah.
And I
the
think
other thing too, I mean, with the music and the acting, so I've never done either of them for money, because I mean, if you're in it strictly for the money, you're never gonna make it. I did it because I love doing it.
yeah.
And like when I worked for the CBC, I made good money, but I honestly would have done it for free because it's just something I wanted to do.
Yes, of course, right? Yeah. So in your songwriting, so how, like when we're writing songs together, all of us, I guess you when you get inspired, do you take it like I've noticed, like you don't refine it right off the bat. You leave it kind of open and just keep going till you find it where.
Well, I mean, songs evolve from the time they're started writing to the time they're recorded, and even after they're recorded, they keep evolving. So
Yeah.
I just find if something doesn't feel right, I think maybe we should try this. I don't like going from that chord. There's a lot of things that just stand out. Say this needs to be different, and that, I mean, the latest one that we wrote was very much that. We started with a chord. We figured out where we could go to give it sort of like we had a major key making minor changes, which is not necessarily a taboo, but it's not as usual in songwriting. I think it kind of gives the song a certain edge quality to it that I think the songwriting needed.
I do. I agree with you too, because it changes the mood, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know. I like that too. I don't like it when it sounds, like when it makes too much sense. Okay, is that a good thing to say? You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, no, it's exactly. Well, I mean, because we go from a G major, which has a B on the 3, and then we go to a B flat from there, which is, it's almost a sonic dissonance, but not enough to really matter.
Yeah.
I just think that's really cool. I mean, I do that in a lot of the songs I write too, where I do the exact same change, or I go from A major to C sharp major, which is
right.
The same thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. So when you're basically when you're developing your sound, as you play, you like far as I know, like you play through Vox. Is that the only amp that you like as far as like sound goes? What do you look for in your sound? What are you trying to develop in your sound?
Well, I really like trying to emulate guitarists that I really like. I mean, like I used to play a Lysne because it sounded like Tony Iommi, and the Vox sounded like Brian May.
Yeah.
But also I really like this sort of like almost like glass crunch that comes out of the box.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's a certain kind of chime that I haven't been able to find in any other amp. Like the Vox doesn't have high enough gain for the stuff that I like to do, but I just put my pedal in front of that, and it still has that signature, really sort of rounded, but like it's almost like a mid-cut sound out of the box.
Yes. Yeah.
You put a distortion pedal in front of that, and it just sounds amazing. So.
Yeah, that's interesting. Because I noticed that, yeah, you go for a certain sound and you know what you want, so that's very good, right? I mean, some players don't, they sort of fish around on each song, but you've got a certain sound and style that you want to bring across, and although you're open to changing it too at the same time.
Yeah. And I don't mind, if I have to use someone else's amp for a show, if I got to borrow, Mark's Blues Jr., I'll do that. That's fine. That doesn't matter to me. I just know the Vox is the sound that I like for me.
Yeah, that's important, right? That's important. So you've been running jams too, right? Especially during COVID, that's tough to do these days, right? So how do you feel about that? I mean, like I know you run that jam for a while. I know it's like a gig, but I mean in the sense that it helps, especially with live music these days, right? I mean because there's not a lot, especially in Vancouver, there's especially not a lot of venues, right? So when you're running the jams, I mean, basically, what do you look for when you're running the jams? Do you have like, I'll bring up these two people, they play more bluesy stuff, this guy likes to rock out. This guy likes to. These two people here like to play reggae. These girls like to sing these kind of, folky or poppy songs. What do you look for? Like, how do you set it up? How do you set the jam? Do you have a certain way?
I do pay attention to what everyone does individually. I get them up and I put people together who I think are going to play well together.
Yeah, that's cool.
If someone hasn't come with their own band, I make a band out of the people in the room. And I've got enough people who were showing up regularly that I was able to put together bands that really mesh well together. And I know what styles everyone does, and I know who should go on early, who should go on late. I know who's going to get too drunk and not be able to play it. That's a bigger problem than you might assume. Yeah, there were a couple of jammers who I know just get completely trashed, and so I had to make sure to put them up earlier in the night before they were too drunk to play.
Yeah. There is a lot of people like that too, and some people can be totally trashed and they can still play. Too. There's people like that too, but they're very rare. But there are.
Not these ones in particular.
Yeah, it depends who it is, right? Certain people, like I says, I know certain people that do. So that's interesting. And do you? I guess that gives you a sense of satisfaction too, because you get to. You're getting an opportunity to help the people out in the music scene, because like I guess the people. Not only it's a gig, but I mean, like you're getting people to get a chance to get up on the stage and play, because they haven't had a chance in a long time.
Well, yeah, trying to keep the music alive, and that was the main reason I did it. The money is nice, but honestly I don't care about the money.
Yeah, I know, and it's been fun. It's been fun since like when I met you over at the other place at the press box there, when Kelly was running that jam and stuff, and Peg and all them. I mean, the musicians get kind of like a nice little group of people to get to know each other, right? And it's kind of nice, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's the only reason I was able to host the jam over at the Animal, was because I had the following of people that I met at the press box.
Yeah.
And the Heritage and all those places. So
yeah,
I was able to bring in all my contacts from other places, and I was able to fill the room, and it's a big room, so that was nice.
Yeah, it is. So that's interesting. So yeah, I see what you're saying. I know that's great, because that helps a lot in the industry, and it makes a change. And you're creating a focus for people and a thing to go to. So in your playing, I mean, in those shows too, you get up and I guess you have a chance to play a little bit with people too, right?
When I'm running the jam, I generally step back unless there's some dead space and I need to fill it. But
yeah.
I really don't. I mean, I either play one song to intro the show and then I let people take over, or I don't play at all. I mean, I don't really need any spotlight time.
Right.
I'm busy doing other things. So.
Yeah. That's interesting. Yeah. Actually, you're not from Vancouver. Where you originally come from?
I'm from North Vancouver Island.
Oh, okay. So that's interesting. So what's it like up there, learning about music up there and doing stuff up there?
There are no musicians up there. When I started playing, I didn't know anyone else who played.
Right. So is that one of the reasons why you came down here? I guess came to Lower Mainland.
No, I actually came to Vancouver to be an actor.
Oh, there you go. Okay. So that's how it first started out. That's great.
Yeah.
Wow, that's really.
I had a band back in Port Hardy. It was my brother on the drums, and we played, I don't know, 5 or 6 shows there. We used to play. Actually, I used to be. We used to have a band that played in the church. There was an evening church service in Port Hardy, and we were. I was the lead singer of the church band, and the band I put together there was sort of like a hard, fast punk, but worship band.
Yes.
We sing all these Christian songs, but in my style.
Okay, very interesting.
Yeah. So that was how we got sort of the early part of playing in front of a crowd, playing in front of a big and excited crowd.
Yeah.
So that sort of gave us a good push toward playing real shows.
Very interesting. Very cool. That's very cool. And then like I said, then you came down here for the acting, and it just bloomed from there, right?
Yeah, and actually I didn't really start playing after I got to Vancouver. I didn't really start playing again for a while. Like I was, playing in my apartment and stuff, but I didn't really start playing live until 2017 or 2016, 2015 maybe.
Right. Interesting. Cool.
I was here for 5 years before I even stepped on stage here.
That's interesting. Because you did it, and so when you came down here to do your acting too, I know we're jumping around to all this stuff, but when you came down to do your acting, how was it? How fast did you get into it? How was it gradual? Into it.
Well, I went to school for it.
Oh, you did, eh?
I went to school for 9 months, and then I think I got my first independent job maybe 5 months, maybe 6 months out of school.
Okay.
And then it just sort of snowballed from there. I mean, everyone I worked with, there were people on the crew who were making their own film. They wanted me for that.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Sort of like, what happened was the first time I went out to audition, for this guy called Will. And the guy who was running his camera was actually working on his own film at the time. And he saw me. He's like, "You may not be right for your film, but I fucking want him for mine." So he sent me an email or gave me a call or something like that a couple days later and said, "I want you to be the lead in my film." And so that was actually a really, really good film. And it was one of the ones that went to the Toronto International Film Festival. It was probably the biggest short film to come out of SFU.
Oh wow. Very cool. And where did you go to school? SFU for the acting?
No, I went to Van Arts, the William Davis Center.
Okay.
You remember X-Files, the smoking man?
Yes.
Well, that guy, that's Bill Davis. He started his own school back in the 80s. I think it's the 80s. And that school got bought out by Van Arts because they wanted an acting program in their art school. So
Cool.
William Davis Center is at Van Arts, and I went to that.
And how many years did you do that?
I did that for 9 months.
9 months. Very cool.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I did the main program for 9 months, and then I was still doing evening classes for a couple years after that.
That's pretty good. Yeah, that's really good. That's interesting. I didn't know that. That's great. And then that's that. Like I said, then you didn't do anything for like 5 years until you got into music and got on stage, right? Started playing music down here.
I was still playing. I was still writing. I was still recording little YouTube videos and stuff. But I wasn't actually getting out there and doing things. I think I played the stage at Cafe du Soleil, I think in 2012.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just really wasn't playing live at all. No, actually, I guess that's not true. I was playing with a friend called Don. I was playing guitar in his band. We did shows once in a while, but I didn't really do anything myself. I was sort of along for the ride the whole time I was there.
Cool. And you were saying too, beside us playing together in two projects, you've got a new little project started up with just guitar and drums. Is that right?
Yeah. We're starting a new duo. Me and this guy Chuck Concrete.
Right on. And what kind of style, what kind of music, and where's it going? What kind of stuff?
Well, it's going to be sort of like halfway between like a bar band and a punk rock group, and just like, I don't know. I mean, it's a very big sound for two people.
Yeah.
So we're trying to get almost like the feeling of like a Royal Blood kind of sound, like a heavy duo.
Cool. That's very cool.
It's still very early stages, so I'm not really sure where we're going to take it at this point. But I've got a set list semi-drawn up, and we're going to start practicing up all those and get out to some of the smaller venues and make a much bigger sound than we look like we should be able to.
That's cool. That's very cool. That's interesting because that's been a thing for the last while. I probably started out, I guess. Started out way before, in the 60s there were bands like that. Lee Michaels was a perfect thing with, keyboards and a drummer back then. And, and in the most recent one everybody probably knows is White Stripes, right? So that's interesting, and then of course Royal Blood, like you said, they're one of the more recent bands have done it. There's a few bands like that. The Black Keys are another one, yeah. I was watching watching a video last night. Black Keys. After we rehearsed, there was one with them doing an old blues standard, Crawling King Snake. Yeah, they did a version of the Crawling King Snake. It was really well done. But now they've got like a whole band now. They've changed. It's more of a whole band sound now, right? But they started off just two people too,
Yeah, well, I'd probably do the same. I'm not doing a duo because it's more money for us or whatever. It's because I can't find other musicians right now.
There you go. And because everything's all over the place right now anyways, right? It's really...
Also, I like keeping it simple. I like the simplicity of just two people.
Yeah.
No one else has to learn chords or lyrics or anything. It's just like...
It must be...
I play, you play along.
Yeah, it must be lots of fun. I mean, how it's great to do something like that because you've got some space in there. You know what I mean? Like you got air. And then you can color around that air, where if you have a big full band, it's a lot. Then people are, you're competing for space more than you, because you've got so much sound. You know what I mean?
It's also a lot harder to improvise when you've got other people to worry about.
Yeah.
And it's just him and me. I can do whatever I want. If I decide I don't want to play that song, or if I decide I want to play something totally different, or stretch out the ending of the song, or play another chorus. If I want to do whatever I want, I'll just do it.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't affect anyone.
That's right. That's true. Well, that's cool. So you musically you're busy, and are you doing the jam right now? Or are you going to be doing?
No, the jam is on hiatus right now. I guess they're restructuring the management team over there. So
yeah. So you're going to
them soon and kind of figure out what's going on for February.
Yeah, because that's going to be fun. That's great that you do that. Like I said, that's the other thing that I like, that because you're keeping busy, you're helping people get out there and play when there is no venues around, right? It's a great thing to do, right? And then I think maybe when COVID, hopefully it starts to slow down a little bit, especially in the spring and the summer and early fall. Things will kind of open up, hopefully a lot more wider, right? So there'll be more gigs and stuff hopefully opening up and stuff going on. So that's great that you're, in the meantime, as you're doing it too, you're helping, keep people chops up, stuff. And I guess you'll be looking for some more acting stuff coming up too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
I'm still doing the background just to pay the bills, and
yes.
Over the last, I've only been doing it for, actually I've been doing it for, well, I would say 2 years, but there was a big break in there from the first COVID wave.
Yes.
But the last part of last year, I was making a lot of money doing that, so that was keeping me healthy enough that I could do the music stuff more full time without having to worry about getting money.
Right. I hear you. Well, that's good. Well, you know what? I'm going to wrap this up. This is fun talking to you. I found out stuff I didn't know. Which is cool, Charles. And it's fun. And, I enjoy working with you. Everybody in the band does. It's great. Nicole loves it. She said she loves it. It's great that you're in both projects now. It's good. It's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's lots of fun.
No, I do like bringing a certain creativity to the band that I thought was not necessarily lacking, but a nice...
change it up.
A nice extra eye on the song.
Yeah, and it'll be fun with the Saints too, because we get to develop that too now. Like Harvey says that he's excited by that. Right? Yeah, that's good. That'll be fun. Well, I'm going to let you go, and I will chat with you. If not this week, I'll chat with you next week when we rehearse and have some drinks and have some food and practice.
Okay, cool.
All right, take care, Chuck.
You too.
Goodbye. So that was Charles, and Charles plays in Saints and Sinners. He has his own new project started up. He's an actor. He's been acting. I didn't know he went to film school. Acting school. So he's in it. He's in deep. He's an artist, and he's fun to work with. We have a good time. He's lots of fun. So, check this out. It's a good interview. Izzy Dakota Jones with the Art of Doing podcast for 2022. Peace out.